It took police just 30 seconds to shoot and kill the suspect, 24-year-old Connor Betts, after he opened fire in Dayton, Ohio. Now, as Ryan Young reports, law enforcement says it could have been a lot worse.
Late Saturday night in Dayton, Ohio, a night out turned into a night of terror.
Shots fired! Downtown, multiple shots fired! 83, where are you at?
Dayton Mayor Nan Whaley says suspected shooter, 24-year-old Connor Betts, began shooting around 1:07 a.m.
A suspect opened fire along the Oregon District who was wearing body armor and used a .223 caliber high-capacity magazine. He had additional magazines.
Dispatch, we got shots fired. We got multiple people down. We're going to need multiple medics.
Two women say they were out with girlfriends.
People just started running. They started pushing us out the back door.
Her friend says she remembers chatting with a woman about their outfits, but the next time she saw her,
she was laying on the concrete dead outside of the club that we was at.
Whaley says the gunman was quickly shot and killed by police who were routinely patrolling the area.
In less than 1 minute, Dayton first responders neutralized the shooter.
Despite the quick response, at least 9 people were killed and more than a dozen injured. One of those killed was Betts' own 22-year-old sister.
The officers who were involved in ending this tragedy, their professionalism, their quickness, their amazing courage, and their response undoubtedly saved many, many, many lives. We will never know how many lives were saved. The assailant was obviously very, very close to being able to kill dozens and dozens more people.
Tonight, the district's now cleared of crime scene tape and open to a crowd attending a Sunday evening vigil. At one store, a few purple flowers were tucked into a bullet hole. Well, the federal government is treating the mass shooting in El Paso as a domestic terrorism case. The U.S. attorney told reporters that the Justice Department is preparing federal hate crimes and firearms charges against the suspect, which would carry a death penalty. El Paso's police chief says suspect Patrick Crucius surrendered to approaching police officers Saturday and has been cooperative since his arrest. The chief says there are no words sufficient to describe the crime scene.
There's not words you can place to say something like that. You know, you have to see it for yourself. When I first got into this job, I never knew there was an odor to blood, but there is. And until you firsthand see that, my description of it as far as horrific will be unserving as far as what that scene looks like. So I can't tell you what that means other than for the normal individual that doesn't have to deal with that on a day-to-day basis, it will leave an impression that you will never forget. I'll just leave it at that.
The chief says the suspect essentially surrendered once he saw police, and during the questioning, he didn't hold anything back. The FBI has opened a domestic terrorism hate crimes investigation into the case, and all bodies have been removed from El Paso Walmart, where the gunman killed those people inside the store and in the parking lot. Today, President Trump extended condolences to both sides and praised law enforcement for quick work to stop the shootings. The president said he spoke with the Attorney General, the director of the FBI, and both governors about what can be done to prevent these types of mass shootings.
We're talking to a lot of people, and a lot of things are in the works and a lot of good things. And we have done much more than most administrations, and it's not really not talked about very much, but we've done actually a lot. But perhaps more has to be done.
The president said, quote, hate has no place in our country, and we're going to take care of it. He plans to speak more on the mass shootings tomorrow. Democratic presidential candidates Senator Kamala Harris and Senator Bernie Sanders are calling on President Trump to address the gun violence problem in the country following these shootings that claimed 29 lives.
And today I urge Senator McConnell, Republican leader in the Senate, bring the Senate back to Washington. Let us have a special session to address gun violence in America, and let us finally have the courage to take on the NRA.
North State Congressman Doug LaMelfa told Action News Now in a statement, the shootings in recent days are horrific tragedies. We need to find solutions to deter these criminals before they kill without restricting law-abiding citizens. In 1994, the federal government banned 19 types of assault weapons like AK-47s and Tech-9s. The ban expired in 2004, so these weapons can now be legally bought. Studies done by pro and anti-gun groups as well as the Justice Department show conflicting results on whether the ban actually helped to reduce crime. Do you know what you would do in an active shooter situation? According to the Department of Homeland Security, you first need to run. Find an escape route and run with your hands visible. If you can't run, hide and silence your cell phone. Fight, third of all, as a last resort, and that includes throwing things at the shooter. The Sacramento County Sheriff's Office says you should have a few things in mind anytime that you're in a public place.
It's the best thing that somebody could do for themselves is to walk into a space and say, okay, the likelihood of this happening is not very great, but if it were to happen, what's my move going to be? I mean, I'll speak for myself, and of course I come from a law enforcement background, but that's the first thing that I do when I go somewhere is I think to myself, okay, where are the exits? What does it, okay, that's over there, check, check, and just kind of making mental notes of the space that I'm in so that if something does happen, I don't have to then go back and create that plan.
If you do need to hide, you need to not just conceal yourself, but cover yourself. And that means getting behind a space that you believe can stop a bullet. Action News Now spoke with people around the North State about their reactions to the mass shootings and how it impacts their sense of safety in public spaces.
They're horrible. It's terrible. I think a lot of it has to do with all the publicity and all the upheaval in government, and it's just making it people a little more crazy than usual. It's awful.
Well, I just want to be more careful, more aware of my surroundings, more able to react.
And so what do you do to stay aware of your surroundings?
Stay watchful, look around, be careful, watch other people.
And we'll continue to bring you the latest on this weekend's mass shootings on air and online here on Action News Now.